As papa to 5 granddaughters, I'm discovering each and every encounter is a new adventure for me. I get asked to do things I never thought I would ever do in my life, like play dress up or learn how to dress Barbies or know the difference between when they're pretending and when they're not, and whether they're talking to you or they're talking to their friend. I've been a spotter at the playground as they climb dangerously high on things, only to rescue them on occasion. I've been asked to be a horse, a dragon, or any other creature that they need in their life at that moment. I have sat and read endlessly for hours, literally, sometimes reading the same 7 or 8 books over and over and over again. I have learned that I am now an art teacher and a Play-Doh sculptor. Above all, I am Mr. Fix-It. If it gets broke, we'll just ask Papa to fix it. And oh yes, I'm the cut man, because Papa's always got Band-Aids. I'm included in everything. It's a grand time. The best role I've ever played. And so you can imagine my surprise one day when the girls were playing soccer. Now, I love soccer. It's one of my favorite games to play. And so I just naturally entered into the game. At which point, the ball was picked up, and I was informed that I couldn't play. I said, well, why not? You're a boy, and this is girls' soccer. You can't play. I tried to argue, but I got nowhere. And then it hit. All those birthday parties that I never got invited to as a kid, all those weddings for friends and fraternity brothers and college classmates that I never got included in, all those celebrations of family and friends that, gee, the invitation never got mailed. All of those exclusions suddenly hit me square in the face. And I was somewhere between angry and horribly hurt. Now, fortunately, the soccer game only lasted about 34 more seconds, and then we were on to something else that Papa got included to. But there for a moment, I recognized what it was like once again not to be invited to the party. Jesus in Luke's gospel is very concerned about who gets invited to the party, the kingdom party. And what happens when you get there, how you're treated, how you behave, what you wear. We heard in the last couple weeks about when you show up at the party, don't take the good seats so that somebody higher may supplant you, and you'll have to take a lower seat and be terribly embarrassed. And when you do the invitations, you don't invite those that can repay you, but you invite those who have no hope of repaying. Those who are on the edges, the margins, the fringes of your fellowship groups, and maybe not even there. We're told elsewhere that when you send out your invitation and you start to get excuses why they can't come, you just throw the net wider and invite anybody. All are welcome to this kingdom party, it seems. And then Jesus tells 3 stories in succession that at the outset don't seem to talk about the party at all, but they really are about the party. They are a story about a lost sheep, a lost coin, and about a lost son. They are a reminder that there are those who are lost, who know they're lost. There are those of us who think we've been found but are really still lost. And the good news is that Jesus doesn't leave us in our lostness, but he comes searching. Like a good shepherd who searches for the one lost sheep out of the 99. Now that's just insane. You leave 99 sheep to go look for one, and yet that's what Jesus does. He comes looking for us in all of our insignificance, in all of our lostness, in all of our pain and anger, frustration, woundedness. He comes and searches until he finds us to bring us back home. Like the widow with a lost coin. He searches for that precious one that is us. Again and again and again. No matter how many times we get lost, he comes looking. And is relentless until he finds us. Like a father whose son has wandered off to a far country and blown everything in riotous living, and now comes crawling back only to become a servant in his father's house, a slave. And yet the father greets him, picks him up, starts barking orders, a robe, a ring, a fatted calf, a party. You see, when God welcomes the lost back home, it's not a time for condemnation. It's not a time to rub it in that they were lost or that they had wandered off, or to point out the realities of our brokenness. No, it's time to celebrate, a time to party, to feast. For they who were lost are now found, and the ones who were as good as dead have now been made alive. That's the reality of the kingdom party. We were all lost. As St. Paul said, we've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Now let's talk about the one who comes looking for us and the grace that he brings. Forgiveness and celebration. It's a time to remember our own lostness and brokenness, but a time to recognize those that God now puts into the party. that may not have been there before, but a time to celebrate, a time to include, a time to party. The story of the prodigal son ends with a bit of a warning, however, for those of us who feel fairly comfortable in our status as partygoers, as we look at those who we may not think deserve to be in the same party. We too could be like the older son in all self-righteousness and all justification, standing outside the party. It's time to party. For we who were lost have been found, and we who were once dead are even now being made alive.